Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight, and my guest is writer, director, producer, Marie Laurin. How's it going?
I'm doing great. It's still very sunny and warm today in Los Angeles. And I'm in between suitcases, leaving for England tomorrow for another festival.
How pumped is that to get your film out over in Europe?
I know, it's really, really great. It's called Hastings Rocks at Hastings, the famous Battle of Hastings. So we'd be right by the ocean. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You were at the Whorehound Film Festival, you and your daughter, Clara Gabrielle. You guys did your red carpet premiere, The Uncanny, which I didn't get a chance to see, but thank you for sending it over to me so I can see this film.
Welcome.
This film really got to me. The whole story just got to me. It's hard to explain it. Because the film has so much emotion. You know, it's about grieving, redemption, loss, identity.
Yep.
And it really got me. It kind of reminded me of my story of what I was going through life and how hard it was for me. So I kind of relate to this film.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's the biggest compliment when people when it's screened at Whorehound, people afterwards came to us, say, can we hug you? And they had tears in their eyes and say, this is my story. This is about me, my life. I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing.
Yeah, it is.
You know, that touched you.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I felt the same way. It was just empowering, and you did a powerful performance in it. You had that intimate, powerful performance, but your character was a little whack, though.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah, she goes down the rabbit hole. Yeah.
So,
I have a background in mental health, working mental health with abused children and teenagers. So I had a lot to pull from.
So when you and Clara wrote this, it was based off your guys' experience. How hard was it for you guys to really film it and write it and, put all that into the characters in the film?
There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears shed over the making of The Uncanny. We started writing in 2016. And the writing process went really well. People expect, because she was my daughter, we're fighting. But no, we actually got along better, much more as creative than as mother-daughter. The dynamic between mother-daughters can be kind of complex. And the writing, she would go in one room, I would go in another room, and then we would each write a scene, switch computer, look at each other's writing, do notes and back and forth. And because she's my daughter, she's also we're very similar. So we didn't have to argue about our vision of the film. For Clara, the shooting was very difficult in terms of watching her mother go down the rabbit hole. For me, I love it. I love acting, So yes, it is painful, but it's a kind of pain. You have to go there, but at the same time, it's a relief for me. And for Claire, to watch me, it was hard for her. Yeah, that was probably the most difficult thing. Also for the writing, we kind of went the lazy way because we never written before. We were both actresses. We basically cast the characters ahead of the writing. For friends of ours who are wonderful actors. And so when we wrote the dialogue, we could hear our friends talk to us. We could hear their voice. So it made it, easier. And the shooting, it was a union, a SAG movie, but it was an ultra low budget. So we didn't have money to pay for rehearsals. So everything is 1 or 2 takes, no rehearsal. So we had to have a lot of faith in our actors, and they deliver. Yeah. So that was quite a challenge.
I bet it was a challenge because the movie, it talks about 3 different stories, because you go back to 1988, not 1980, 1918,
Just Spanish flu.
Yeah, the Spanish flu with, with May. And then you go to 1992, which deals with you and how close in your loss with Lily. And then you also meet Daniel, who goes through a hard life crisis as well. It just really got to me. The stories, you were powerful, and I love how it all, interconnected like a web.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we can't reveal too much to the audience, but
yeah, I'm not.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, yeah, and yeah, there's a reveal at the end why the little girl May is the way she is. What's the impetus? Why is she behaving that way? So we had sort of two. Well, we have the story of where we talk kind of like a fairy tale. In the fairy tale, you have the story like Little Red Riding Hood, which we refer to in the film. You have the story, and then you have the symbolism and something else. We also tackle that with depression and loss and letting go. And those moments at night, those what if moment at night that keeps you up, and your mind just goes crazy. What have I done, Dad? What about this? But then we also had this symbolism about more and more women, especially young women, are tremendously pressured by social media to conform to a certain look. Look like dolls, basically, where you see girls now, they don't even look humans anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because of all the plastic surgery, the injections, whatever, the filters. So there's that element also we tackle on more of a symbolic level.
Yeah,
in the film.
Yeah, I think so. And the scene I loved the tea party scenes. I loved it. I mean, it kind of like you said, running down the rabbit hole. Kind of remind me of Lost Alice in Wonderland, where
absolutely,
where you see Juju, having a little tea party with Daniel and May. I kind of felt a little bit about that too. May felt like she needed that family, because
absolutely. Yeah, for obvious reason. Yeah, and then there's the reveal at the end, but and there's also the unreliable narrator, basically, which is Zuzu. You don't know, is she really seeing what's happening?
Yeah.
It's all in her head. It's all at the end. We're like, okay, we won't see, but at the Halloween scene where there's the neighbors knock on the door, then we go, oh, okay, we know. But we love playing around when we have all those little hidden Easter eggs throughout the film. I can't say about that one. Birds, the element freedom of letting go, and there's little birds that keep popping up in props or whatever throughout the movie and things like that. Yeah.
The one scene creeped me out was where Juju was like dressed like a living doll, and she was in a trance, and she walks right in front of the astrologist, Deja Vu, right from her car.
Yeah, Deja Vu.
That creeped me out. I mean, I could see that really happen. Someone, you don't know what's going through their head, and they're like in this trance. It could be scary. That creeped me out.
Well, that's the thing I noticed when I work with kids in residential treatment facilities. Some of them were taking medication, one of them being Ambien, and for sleep disorders. And actually what it would do, it would make them sleepwalk. And they could have all conversation with the glassy eyes.
Yeah.
I remember think in the fridge, make a sandwich. So you see Zuzu pop pills throughout the film to deal with the depression. So, but obviously we couldn't show the brands or what it was.
Yeah.
So it puts her in those sleepwalking episode throughout the film. Yeah.
And then another scene when Juju was going down in the basement was like real dark, which was creepy, where you saw all those dolls. That creeped me out. I'm going to tell you a short story about why I don't like crazy dolls like that. When I was younger, I stayed over at my... Yeah. So, when I stayed over at my friend's house, his mom had a collection of dolls. I didn't know that. And it was the guest room. And they're like, well, you're going to sleep in the guest room. I was like, okay. So I go in this room and I'm surrounded by these hundreds of dolls with these glass eyes, old dolls. I mean, just freaked me out. I had to go sleep in their living room couch, man. So, certain dolls just freaked me out.
You know what? I've met many, many men who were freaked out by antique dolls. You're not the first one. I mean, those are my dolls. I collect antique dolls. But I have a friend, similar story. He was house sitting for me, and I had my bedroom. And when I came back from my trip, he had to turn around, all the dolls facing the wall because he was too freaked out. He couldn't sleep.
Hey, I feel the pain. I did. I was like, so I still get a hard time about it. It's like, haha. No, I'm just kidding. But also, Zuzu was like an artist. Where did you get all those paintings at? Some of them were pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it's our director, Jessica Ayala, who did an amazing job. She studied art at UCLA, and she's an amazing artist, and she did all those paintings for us. It was really heartbreaking when the scene where they're being destroyed.
Yeah.
Oh my I just didn't want to do that. Yeah, yeah. And I kept them all, even if they're messed up. Yeah, but they're beautiful. And each of them refer to a fairy tale.
Yeah, I noticed that too because you were mentioning. I love how you put the Little Red Riding Hood into it too. How they explain everything, which I quite liked. And then the actress who played Lily, man, she did a solid performance. As Lily, crazy, suicidal. She's in what's going on in her head.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, Granichi, she was terrific, and she was extremely believable, and reminded me so much of some of the kids I work with. Yeah, she was. We were blessed with terrific actors, and we also had a great crew because it was really hard for the crew. We shot in 15 days, 12 hours a day. And as you mentioned, we go all the way back to 1918. So it was all shot in my house. So they had to move really fast with the props, redecorate the rooms and all that kind of stuff. It was really, really challenging for them.
Yeah, I also like I like the paranormal and all that, and I love how you explain the whole mirrors. If you die, you got to cover the mirror or you're stuck. I like how you added this film had more to me like a psychological, horror ghost story.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it is. It's a psychological horror, more like Polanski, Rosemary Baby type of genre. Yeah, because there's very little violence or blood in it. Actually, it's not at all about. It's all about up there in your head, Yeah.
Those are the best kind of films. If you can write a good film and put like the right mood to it and put in your head, I think it's more better than seeing a gory film or CGI added just to really see it. Because I love psychological horror. I mean, I really do.
Because we wanted something to people would leave and it lingers with them. They think about it and they maybe talk about it with their friends who saw the film and try to discuss the meaning. And it was such an important thing for us to do a statement about mental illness and suicide, depression, because it's still a very taboo subject. And let's put it all out there, and talk about it. And our timing was really odd because we wrote it in 2016 and we talked about the pandemic in 1918 and suddenly, boom, we're in post-production and the pandemic happens and people are depressed and therapists are overwhelmed, by clients. I have a friend of mine who was telling me he can't keep up. He has to work 6 days a week now because he has too many clients. It's just exploding everywhere. It's just horrible. I think we feel more and more lonely, and it's something that needs to be, put out there and discussed. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I love the story of the doll you found. When a kid dies, the parents will make a doll and take their hair and put it in the doll. That's pretty interesting.
We did a lot of research for that film, and that morning, that little doll, that was the tipping point for starting to write the script. I did find that in a little thrift store, and it has human hair on it, and that's when I started looking online. I had no idea. It is just really, really sad story, and I have it, it's just, she's about this big, and it's just beautiful, and I just love the Victorian era and how they tackled death. They talk with, they weren't afraid to. I mean, they would position dead people. If you know about that, they would put dead people in chairs or in different positions, their favorite pet, whatever, and take pictures. Now everything is sanitized. We don't want to see it. It's send it to be burned and pour the ashes. But the Victorian has touched, and they would take hair and make jewelry out of it. And this whole mirror thing, covering the mirror, that's also something they would do, they believed in. And I just find that very good. There's something very poetic to me about the Victorian era and ghosts and all that. That was really intriguing for us.
I think it was pretty cool because also back then they did a lot of seances too because they thought they could, talk to their loved ones as well, which they really did.
Yes. Yeah, with the mediums and all that. Actually, a group, I live in Altadena in Los Angeles, and it's supposed to be one of the most haunted place in America. We have a lot of wonderful old houses, and we did the public library gave us permission with a ghost hunter to go there one night. They had all their little machine and try to to get some stuff, some reaction. The beep beep, it was so cool. I love that stuff.
I bet it is. Let's talk about the music in the film. I love the score and the music. Who did that? It made the tone on certain scenes the music and score.
Yeah, Miriam Mayer was our composer, and she did a beautiful work. And unfortunately, she passed away last month of cancer. But yeah, it's a mix of classical music, because I'm a big fan of classical music, and she was able to recreate. She played the viola and the violin, so it's her you hear play on the soundtrack, and the other thing she composed also.
Yeah, and also the song "Hush Little Baby," that was like a creepy paranormal song. It's such an innocent child song, and then when you hear it like in a creepy way, it's just disturbing.
It is, and we also had a great sound engineer, Jeffrey Allen Jones, who also did some extra composing for the film. Because the thing with composition, where does the sound start and the music end? It's such a fine line. It's really hard to figure out who's the composer or is it sound. So like that scene when I'm walking in that tunnel, like that ping, and he created boom, boom. This sounds like. The first time I saw it, was like my heart was beating. It was so creepy. And Jeffrey did a really good job with that. Yeah. And then with Miriam's music. So both of them together worked beautifully. If you watch a horror movie, turn off the sound, it's not the same anymore,
Mm-hmm. Also, the costumes in the film were beautiful too. Did you find and buy those costumes, or did you have those made?
No, mine. I'm a hoarder of vintage clothes, so I have a huge collection of clothing, of antique clothing and vintage. So we just went in my, storage unit and pulled out stuff. Yeah.
That's pretty. I liked the one scene. I'm not going to ruin it, where you had another tea party, but it was with all the young women. They were like all decked out in these like Victorian style dresses. I mean, I thought that was kind of cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, and it was beautiful. And it was so funny stories that a little girl, Delilah, who played the child in the film. She was only like 7 years old in that film, and we were a little concerned that she might be overwhelmed by it. But we worked with her for like a year and a half before, because she's the daughter of our director, they're a good friend of ours.
Okay.
Well, the funny thing is her dad used to be a mortician.
Wow.
Okay. I don't make that up. So she always used to watch horror movies with Dad, and was totally unfazed by all that. When she's laying in the coffin, Dad was on the set as the parent. He had to be there. And he's positioning her and giving us tips about the makeup and all that kind of stuff, because that's what he did for a job. But now he's a terrific colorist and did our color grading for the film. So she was totally unfazed by it. But that tea party scene, she lost it. She could not. She freaked out when she saw all the dolls.
Yeah.
The woman with the. So we had to cheat, and there was only one doll she was comfortable with. So we had to do So all the time you see Delilah having tea, there's only one actress next to her, the blonde one.
Yeah.
And did a split screen for it.
I did not. That's wild. And the one thing I liked about the film too is I loved how you guys edited. It was some good editing.
He did. My boyfriend Mike, who used to be an editor back in the days, 90210, the old Beverly Hills 90210. He also plays my boyfriend in the film. He plays Ted. Well, he's an editor, and he did the great job. He had to learn again how to edit, because now it's all the technology is very different from back in the days in the 80s. But we lived together. He'd be working in the men cave downstairs, and I would hear words coming out because he was trying to figure out how the system worked online on the computer, and I would go downstairs every day and say, "What did you do today? Show me what you do." Poor guy. I mean,
that's funny. He was actually good in the film playing Juju's, lover. I mean, you guys had that great, you guys had that great chemistry. Now I know because it seemed like you guys were comfortable with each other because I love how you guys played off each other in certain scenes and how you guys acted around each other. It felt like you guys like known each other for like years.
Yeah. Well, it showed. I mean, it's funny because we've been together for 12 years, and of course, when you're with someone, you bicker. You piss at each other. So my daughter Clara, who's the director, said, I want Mike to play Ted because he's very funny. He's a funny guy. And she said, you guys need a screen test because you're going to kill each other on screen. I said, no, I'm an actress. We can pull it out. And we did. Yeah. We needed humor. To us, it was very important to have humor in there, too. Yeah. Because even when you're in really dark places, I think a lot of people still maintain the ability to laugh and hide the pain. Mm-hmm. You hear all the time about people committing suicide. Let's talk about like celebrities, for example. When people say, well, but they look so happy. How could they? Because people hide the pain a lot of times. So that's why we wanted to have humor in there as well. Yeah,
let's also talk about Clara Gabrielle. I mean, she was a director, but she was also in the film. She played May's mom back in 1918 during the Victorian era. Yes. So you got to explain a little bit about her mom and, how her and her father, reacted a different way of the loss of their mother,
Yeah, and it was important for me to cast Clara because of the resemblance we have between her and I, and for obvious reasons later on. And Clara never directed before. She's an actress as well, and she did a great job. It was, and most normal people will say, we'll do a short first. We'll do a couple of short. No, not us.
You just want to do the feature. It's like, screw the short film. I don't want to do a 7-minute short film. Let's just do it.
We're going... You know what? The thing is that, it's a lot more work, but the crew, you still have to pick a crew. You know what I mean? A lot of the things is this, and I'm shocked now the budget I've seen for shorts nowadays. Mm-hmm. It's insane how much money is spent. It's almost the budget we spent on our feature. So, we thought, well, why not? Let's just be of course, ignorance is bliss, right? Yeah. We're clueless. We had no idea how overwhelming it would be, but we would do it a second again.
Oh, I hope you guys do another film because I will definitely check it out. So when you're not filmmaking and, being serious, what does Marie like to do? What is your passion that really gets you all excited besides, filmmaking and all that?
Well, besides, I love to go to thrift stores and antique stores and vintage. Like I said, I hoard antiques and props and things like that. But also, I'm very involved in the rescue movement with dogs.
Nice.
So I have a whole zoo here, and I foster. So since COVID started, I think I fostered about 24 dogs. I work for a nonprofit, and I don't volunteer, so it's not work. And we get the dogs; they're extremely abused, and I teach them to trust humans again. And then when they're ready, they get adopted. So I just love it. It's such a great feel good thing, when you foster, because you really do a huge difference. Because as soon as a dog is adopted, the rescue goes to the shelter, pull out another one that I can foster. So we really save lives nonstop. So that's a big thing.
Man, I want to give you a hug now. That's a good cause. So
it's great.
So
and and the movie Charlie, the little black Chihuahua, Charlie.
Yeah,
the dog. That's a risk. It was. When I pulled him out, it was due to be killed that day at the shelter because nobody wanted
the
him.
Little black Chihuahua was going to get the one that was in the film. Wow.
And I fostered him for like a year and a half, and nobody wanted him because black cats and black dogs are the first one to get killed because everybody wants a white fufu dog. Mm-hmm. And Charlie is all black. So he's so smart. He hit all his mark. People told me, in Hollywood, they say, don't make movies with kids, animals, or costumes, period costumes. Well, we did all three. And, so
That's
I like risk.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I had a black cat growing up, and he had a brother who was a white cat. Their name was Trick or Treat, so we took Treat the black cat. And on Halloween, we always had to keep him in the house because he was a black cat.
I know. It's really, really sad. And now during COVID, lots of people adopted dogs. They felt lonely. And what happened now in California, Los Angeles, they are overwhelmed with too many dogs being returned to shelters. They're killing them left and right because there's no more room for them.
Yes. So
back to what?
That's a good thing you're doing too with those dogs. Also, your film Uncanny, it's going around film festivals. So when do we eventually will see it like on streaming platforms?
I do know that we just started in February to do that. So we would like to do for like a year and a half maximum.
Nice.
We love going to film festivals and meet other filmmakers. This is so much. And then watch the film with an audience. It's such a kick. And after that, I mean, I already have been approached by distribution companies. So we're going to see our options. And then after a year and a half, it should then be online. Yep.
That's pretty cool. So when you were at the Whorehound Film Festival, when you were watching the film, what was going through your mind and Clara's mind when you were watching the audience, reacting to the film, feeling the pain and everything? What was going through your guys' head while you guys were watching it with the audience?
Well, okay, it was, first of all, it was a very bittersweet screening for us because our composer had just died like 3 weeks before. So it was the first time we saw the film after Miriam passed away. So her presence is throughout the movie. And I worked really closely with her for the score. And it was a sort of sense memory thing that I was sort of being triggered by hearing her play the viola, for example. But at the same time, we could hear there were guys sitting behind, this filmmaker is behind us. I won't name any names. But I could hear them sniffle. And afterwards, they told me we were crying, and then people would also laugh, but they were supposed to be laughing. They were laughing at all the jokes. So it's a wonderful feeling when because as a filmmaker, you want to manipulate the audience. You want them to feel something, right? Whether it's laughing, anger, whatever, pain, or so when they reacted the way you wanted them, you're hoping they would, and afterward they come and talk to you, and they don't have to talk to you. You don't know them, strangers, and you see it in their eyes. They're like, "Oh my God!" It's just the best feeling in the world. It really is.
So where can everybody find you on social media and check out The Uncanny?
We are on Facebook, and we have The Uncanny on Facebook. I think it's The Uncanny Movie, and then we also have...
you have an Instagram, too, Uncanny Movie.
Yeah, Uncanny lower bar Uncanny. Maybe I can send them to you. Could post. I will post them.
I'll post all the links.
Okay, yeah. So we have a Facebook page, and then we're also right now working on a website.
Ooh,
yeah, we'll have our own website.
That'd be pretty cool. Thank you so much for coming on during your busy schedule to come on. Hey, look, Clara missed the fun.
You beat the traffic.
Hey, it was good.
Wow. I'll schedule with you for a different day if that's okay with you.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I sent you a friend request on Facebook, and I'll just message you, and I definitely want to have you on and pick your head. But your mom was a fun interview.
Yeah.
But anyways, everybody, thank you for listening to Horror Pop After Midnight. Have a